Hello there. My name is Maureen with my co-host Corey. We are The Real Guys, and this is The Real Show with 2 E's. We are very happy to bring you this show today, and as always, I'm accompanied by my co-host Corey. How are you doing today, Corey?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Excellent. It's nice to hear you. So, what we're going to be doing today is, it's a bit of a reshuffle, you could say. Would you say it's a bit of a reshuffle? We were supposed to be doing Moon Knight this week.
We were.
But because Moon Knight's finale is airing on Wednesday and we're recording this on Monday, we don't actually know what the Moon Knight finale is going to be like.
No, we don't.
So we're going to have to wait until next week to review it. So for this week, we're going back into Star Wars month, aren't we? We're going back into our May the 4th Star Wars month. It's actually May the 2nd, 2 days until May the 4th.
Yes, it is.
And this is our sort of May the 4th Star Wars celebratory episode. And we're doing it with something we used to do, which was... let's do top fives, if you can remember.
Yeah, we did.
Back, the old-fashioned Real Show listeners will remember that back in my day, we used to do top fives. You do top five, like, Marvel heroes, top five everything, right? Top five 2000 shows. Do you remember that? Shows in the 2000s.
I do.
But now we're doing a top five sort of Star Wars select things. You can remember if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, at The Real Show on YouTube, The Real EEL Show on YouTube, then you can watch our top 5 starfighters. We looked at Star Wars aircraft and spaceships, our top 5 starfighters. And now we're bringing you top 5 Star Wars droids.
Yes.
Top 5 Star Wars capital ships.
Correct.
And top 5 Star Wars background characters.
There you go. In that order.
In that order. I'll provide a definition as we go.
Yes.
For what we're going to be. And this is in no particular order. We say top 5 because it's just us listing off the favourites that we've found.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
Is that good enough of a description? What
people know what I'm about.
People know what top 5 is.
Exactly.
Exactly. I feel like people are, enough babble, you get it.
Yeah, exactly. People get it, audience get it.
Yeah, everyone gets it. So, would you like me to kick this off?
Go for it. Who's your first droid?
A droid. Now, we define the rules for this as, for droids and capital ships, any Star Wars media doesn't count. It can be films, it can be TV, it can be animation, it can be comics, it can be video games, anything. Any Star Wars related product, these droids can come from, right?
Also doesn't have to be canon.
Doesn't have to be canon, yeah.
I think a couple of mine are non-canon.
Non-canonical, completely from the Legends.
A couple of Legends, I think.
Okay, great. I think all of mine are canon. So,
okay.
Except for maybe one, but there's a bit of a funny one on that one.
Okay.
But there's a bit of a funny overlap. However, and also characters count. So obviously you won't be seeing R2-D2 and C-3PO in these top 5s, unfortunately.
It's too obvious.
But we know they're great characters, but they are too obvious.
Yes.
So we're going to bring you a couple of deep cuts today, probably.
Yeah.
That's what I call a deep cut, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to kick it off with my number 5 for droids. And I'm bringing you, it's 2 actually.
Okay.
Some of our choices, we have picked 2 instead of 1.
Yes.
Right? It's 2 right off the bat. It is the Octoptara Combat Magna Tri-Droid and the IG-227 Hellfire Droid tank.
Okay.
Now, these are 2 vehicles, and we discussed this beforehand, that a vehicle that is inherently still a droid, it's not controlled by an organic being. If it is controlled by a computer brain, if it is defined as a droid, then it is allowed. Whether it moves, whether it's big, whether it's small, it still counts as a droid.
Yes.
The Hellfire Droid is one of my personal favourites. I had this as a Lego set as a kid. It's a massive droid tank that rolls on 2 wheels. It's called a Hellfire. It's made by the Hyochal Engineering Company and also the Intergalactic Banking Clan for debt collection. Actually, that's what's funny about that, because obviously nothing says debt collection like a giant rocket barrage droid tank, right?
Yeah.
Nothing says pay your taxes other than that. Okay. And the design of this droid is great. It appears in Attack of the Clones in the Battle of Geonosis. It never appears in the Clone Wars, unfortunately. But it's able to roll rapidly into action. It's got the 2 massive wheels, the 2 tank treads, huge hoop wheels, and it fights for the droid army, for the Separatists and the Confederacy of Independent Systems. So it's got 2 huge missile launcher pods on either side, and it can use 15 sort of guided missile warheads, long-range rockets to take out ATTs and walkers and things like that.
Nice.
So, and it was also developed into a wheel bike. If you can remember in Episode 3, General Grievous, that sort of Hellfire technology. He uses the TSM EU 6 personal wheel bike.
Nice.
So there you go. But I like the Hellfire, great design. It's one of those really cool, unique vehicles, like especially in Episode 2, where all the droid army is sort of unveiled. You have these really unique droid designs. I quite like that. So I feel like the Hellfire is a nice thing to get this thing started off with.
Nice.
So, and it was helping to sort of differentiate in the Battle of Geonosis. ILM added these as sort of an extra addition to sort of help differentiate, the Separatist vehicles from the Republic vehicles because they were concerned they look sort of similar. So, and there was, and also they fired those purple rockets with the black streams of smoke. So, I like that. So, and there's also differentiate the sort of color because the gunships fire white rockets. And the Hellfire Droids fire sort of black and purple smoky rockets. My next choice was the Octoptara Tri-Droid, and as a 3-legged walking droid, it's got 3 cannons that rotate and 3 huge spiky legs. Now these two are quite personal picks to me.
Okay.
This was never made into a Lego set, but I actually had sort of the toy of it.
Yeah.
I remember going to Toys R Us and seeing this big, massive droid set and going, oh, I want that. Pick it from the Clone Wars because it's in the Battle of Christophsis. You see these droids walking in the background and. It's quite a complicated name, but it's effectively a sort of huge walker droid. The combat version is a smaller one, and the sort of Magna version is much taller. The combat one stood at about 3 meters, and the Magna droid stood at about 14 meters. So much bigger.
Nice.
So they're the two. They're also called virus droids because they're known to carry biological plagues and sort of gas weapons and stuff like that. So they're huge, and these monstrous droids are walking across the Separatist battlefield fighting for the droids. And also like the early concept, because these were developed for Episode 3 and used in the background of the Battle of Utapau. But a concept for them actually had them on wheels, had them on little struts. Instead of big walking claws, had them actually rolling around on wheels. So, the huge, big sort of bulbous head and the cannons that come down the bottom. So just really two really unique looking droids and really good like Separatist sort of armament. So... I like those picks.
Okay, nice.
And you're number 5.
So this is the only one, looking at my list, this is the only one that's a character.
Okay.
All mine. Oh no, all mine, some of them are also characters. This is named, right? So yeah, this is only one of 2, I think, or 3 that are named. Everyone here likes a good battle droid.
We love a good battle droid here. Roger.
Exactly, good old Phantom Menace, right? You said a battle droid. We love a good battle droid.
Yes.
Now what's better than a battle droid? Than a red battle droid.
Oh wow!
I'm going for Mr. Bones.
Not Mr. Bones.
I'm going for Mr. Bones.
Mr. Bones. Oh.
Mr. Bones is essentially just a massively modified B1 battle droid.
Yes.
And he likes fighting people, essentially.
He does.
He's a very aggressive droid. He's got a knife for a hand.
Yeah.
He's red and black. He's got bones on him. It's a weird... And it's canon. It exists.
Yeah,
it's real.
It's in the Aftermath books, built by Temin Wexley, or Snap Wexley, from... it was played by Greg Grunberg in The Force Awakens and the Rise of Skywalker. I believe he dies in the Rise of Skywalker.
He also gets killed by an A-Wing.
Yeah.
Friendly fire.
Oh, does he?
He gets killed, yep.
Oh.
He gets disintegrated in a friendly fire incident by 2 A-Wings.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
But that's a very snap way to go out, actually.
Yeah, it is.
He's the protagonist of the Aftermath trilogy. So, and Mr. Bones is his companion.
Yeah.
His beat-one battle droid.
I like. To be fair, I just picked him because most of my picks are kind of aesthetically.
And recently featured in the Skywalker Saga Lego game.
Oh, is he in that?
Yep.
Ah.
He's in there as an extra character. You have to unlock him via a cheat code, I think.
Oh, very nice.
But he is included in there. He's playable. I wondered if that's why you picked him.
No, I just happened to find him.
Okay, because one of mine is also in the Skywalker Saga. That's why I picked that. But
fair enough.
Yeah, he's kind of become a bit of a hot character recently because people are discovering him in the Skywalker Saga, going, "Who is this red battle droid with a knife arm and covered in bones and stuff?"
Yeah,
Mr. Bones. But he's from the books. He's from the novels. So
there we go. This
is my name character, one of 2 name characters.
Okay.
This is from the Clone Wars. This is General Kalani, a tactical droid. He is a CT series super tactical droid. They're sort of souped up version of the regular T series battle droid. Super smart, strategic, calculating thinker. He's relied on precise calculations when dealing with sort of unexpected enemies or opponents. He was sent to Onderon to deal with, General Kalani he was sent to Onderon to deal with the rebels, using his droid army forces to push the rebels back and to contain the capital city of Onderon. Eventually, sort of the rebels overwhelmed the droids, and they were pushed back from the Highlands, so Kalani had to sort of retreat and take his forces away, and they pulled out of Onderon. And then they were taken to a separate planet called Agamar, where their droid control ship crashed, and they were preserved until the Civil War, where they ended up fighting against the Empire.
Nice.
So, because all the droids were shut down at the end of Revenge of the Sith, as you'll know, because after the execution of Order 66, basically the Separatist armies weren't needed, so they were all told to shut down by the control ships. But because Kalani was so intelligent, he thought the shutdown command was actually a Republic trap, so he prevented it. So all of his droids stayed online. So they were all online, and they actually formed a sort of resistance cell against the Imperials on Agamar. So.
Oh, okay.
And he shows up in the Clone Wars, and he shows up in Rebels.
Nice.
And I really like his character. He's voiced by Greg Berger, who also voices Grimlock in Transformers.
Nice.
So that's why he's the T-Rex Transformer. So I quite like Kalani for that reason, and also because he's a cool design of a droid. I like the super tactical droids.
That makes sense.
I like the super tactical droids. So there you go. That is my pick. It is General Kalani.
Nice. My number 2. I know you're familiar with this one. And anyone who's played the Fallen Order game is going to be familiar with this one.
Oh, dear.
My number 4, now you're saying that you might have this one as well.
Maybe.
Mine is BD1.
Oh, nice pick.
Do you have BD1?
No.
You don't? Oh, okay, you've got someone else. Okay, well,
I'm familiar with BD1.
I've picked BD1. He is your companion. He's Cal Kestis' little droid buddy. Shows in the map. You can scan various things. He's just very useful. He runs on his kind of hops on his back.
Yeah, gives you stim packs.
Exactly. He's just a very nice, kind of just a little companion from the game.
He's so cute, isn't he? He just
exactly.
waddles around on his little legs.
I mean, not much is known fully, because Fallen Order, you kind of see where they meet and what happens.
Yeah.
There's a Fallen Order 2, there'd be more in that. He could appear in Kenobi, who knows at this point.
A BD droid has appeared in The Mandalorian.
It has.
It's not BD1.
It's not BD1.
It's not BD1, it's just a BD unit.
Or at least not currently, it's been confirmed as BD1.
And also very prominent in, he's been showed up in a Lego set. He showed up in The Mandalorian Starfighter, his M1 Starfighter. And we're also getting a sort of a scale BD1, sort of like that's actually accurate to how big he is, but he's built in Lego. No, they did like an R2-D2 like that. They did a BB-8 like that. They're doing a BD1.
Oh, okay.
So as well, that comes with that little minifigure, but it's also just scalable, brick-built BD1 is what I should call it.
I just think he's a bit underrated.
He's cute, yeah.
Doesn't get mentioned much.
Bit underrated as a droid companion.
As far as a personal droid companion goes, I think it's quite good.
Right.
I'd pick BD1.
My number 3 is, I'm going to go right to the other edge. You're choosing a little cute little droid that sort of goes around and goes beep boop, right?
Here we go.
I've chosen the HMP droid gunship.
Oh.
Right, if you're familiar with these things.
I am not.
Right, okay. The HMP droid gunship is effectively just a giant droid. It's just a massive missile platform that flies around with eyes and with guns. It's literally, the HMP stands for Heavy Missile Platform.
Nice.
And
these things.
Effectively, the separatist answer to the LAAT Republic gunship.
Yes.
Right? It's developed by Bactoid Fleet Ordnance and again Higher Charl Engineering, who make most of the droids. The HMP droid gunship was known for massive salvos of fire. It's covered in blasters. It's covered in missile pods. It's lethal flying around the battlefield, and it's got ray shielded as well. It's just a huge platform for all of this ordnance and all these weapons. It's got long-range sensors. It's got deflector shields. It's got ray shields. It's got targeting scanners and sensors. It's got medium laser cannons. It's got double laser cannons. It's got missile pods. It's got light laser cannons on the wingtips. It's armed to the teeth.
I was going to say, how long are you going to keep going out for?
I know. It's armed to the teeth, and that's why I really like it. It can carry droids into battle. Like droids can jump on the back. Because it's got a flat surface on the back of the gunship. It's like a platform. So you can actually jump onto the back. Droid can jump onto the back and be sort of ferried into battle by these things. So they're like drop ships as well.
Yeah.
And they can also, the bottom of them can be fitted with racks so they can carry like super battle droids and B1s. You see that in the Clone Wars. So these also appear in the Battle of Kashyyyk in Episode 3. They sort of fly down by the water and see them flying down. They also appear in the Clone Wars in Season 6, on Onderon actually, under the command of General Kalani. And you see them like on Dathomir, and when Grievous attacks Kenobi's fleet several times, you see them sort of flying around and bringing droids. So, and they're also good for spacefaring as well.
Yeah.
Not only can they do atmospheric combat, flying around over the water or over the land, they can also fly in space. So,
nice.
A bit heavier, but I do like them. So, that is the HMP droid gunship.
Okay. I've got another one. I think all mine, actually. I've looked at it and gone, oh yeah, only one of them's named. I think all of mine, technically. In fact, BD1's not named. The rest of them are named. Except for one other one. This one, I'm going to... This is a bit out there. You'll know who it is. I'm going to... Okay. My number 3 is Bucket.
Bucket?
Do you know Bucket?
The name rings a bell.
Bucket is an R1J5.
Okay.
He's got like the body of like an R2 unit,
right?
But he's got a different head. He used to be.
He's from Resistance.
Yes.
Star Wars Resistance.
He raced. He was a former racing droid. He used to race with a guy called Jarrett Yeager.
Yep.
And then eventually, they just kind of set up their own like little mechanic-y, going to fix some stuff, and he walks around. We've got a helmet on to man him his racing day. Again, he's just a nice little kind of.
Nice little droid, yeah. And
little small droid.
We don't see R1s around. We don't see R2 units. They're the more popular unit of the galaxy. Mm-hmm. The R1 are a bit antiquated, but I like us. He's got the sort of a frame of an R2 unit, but his head's different. I think that's how they define the R series is the astromechs.
Yeah.
Is the fact they've got the R1s have sort of that sort of little camera head, and the R2s have more of a dome head.
Yes. And he's just a little droid that has a helmet on and just helps fix his stuff.
Yeah, it's in I really, Resistance, underrated series.
Yeah.
The second season especially is, I like this little droid. Yeah, little bucket, wears a little helmet, goes around, little camera on,
Exactly.
It's great. I like this. That's R1J5 there.
Correct.
Also called Bucket.
Also called Bucket.
Now, you'll notice I'm choosing a lot of separatist droids. A lot of Confederacy droids, because they make the best droids.
Yeah.
B1, B2
you say
battle
that.
Droids.
Yeah. I think most of mine are.
They make all the big droid vehicles, the separatists.
Yeah.
And this is the IG-100 Magna Guard. Now, you know these guys.
Yes.
You know the Magna Guard, right?
I was considering them.
Okay.
I've not picked them.
I've gone for the IG-100 Magna Guard. That is most famously known as the bodyguards of General Grievous. Yes. The IG-100 Magna Guard are armed with an electro staff that allows them to fight the Jedi or fight any sort of bladed opponent. And I think there's a couple of variations on them. Then there's these sort of super tall droids, really lanky. They come in. They've got yellow eyes or red eyes. That's sort of their sort of elite level, and they fly really cool starfighters. They fly Rogue Class. I'm going to say Porax 38 starfighters, and they're really cool. Double winged with guns on the front. They're really great, and they're able to fight. They're able to keep up with Jedi. And also, you see them in Revenge of the Sith. You see them fight, and everyone chops off the head, and it keeps on spinning, and keeps on fighting. So you got to really take it apart to take it down. And I feel like the IG-100 Magna Guard, really elite level droid guard. And I feel like they're very impressive, very fearsome, not very scary. Talking that sort of binary droid language that they communicate in. Yeah. And they're known for being like enforcers on the battlefield as well, but also like protecting like elite level separatists like Dooku and Grievous.
Yes.
So a little behind the scenes fact, if you actually like.
Okay.
The IG-100 Magna Guard was initially concept art for General Grievous.
Nice.
So the IG-100 was a design that was developed to initially be General Grievous because they weren't sure whether he was going to be a droid or not yet.
Yeah.
So they feel like George was open to him maybe being a droid, so the Magna Guard was sort of an early concept for Grievous before he was actually repurposed into Grievous's bodyguards. So
nice.
And another character that appears in the Skywalker saga.
True.
So you can play as the Magna Guards in there.
True. Very true.
Now, this is your number one, I believe.
Number two.
Number two, okay.
Number two. This one you will 100% be familiar with. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a guy from Star Wars Rebels earlier. I've also got one from Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
This is the more obvious choice from Star Wars Rebels.
Chopper.
I have Chopper in mine.
Okay.
Have you got Chopper in yours?
No.
You haven't? This is the one that I thought you would have.
Right.
Chopper, I'm going to put this out there for anyone who's maybe going to get mad at me for saying this. Okay. Chopper is, in my opinion, the best companion droid.
Oh, not R2-D2.
Would you rather have R2, who granted is intelligent, has seen the universe, or would you have Chopper, who's just very sassy,
very little guy?
Yeah.
It's just, they always said that the Rebels team was R2-D2 is like a loyal dog.
Yes.
He's like a dog. He's like a friendly friend, a dog, and Chopper's like a cat.
Yes.
Chopper's not going to care what you're doing, or Chopper's not. It's just going to be sassy
to the point where at one point in Rebels they find another droid. And it's like, oh, yeah, we should keep him. And Chopper just boots him off the ship.
Chopper throws him out. So
he's got little arms that he always puts out.
Yeah, little claws that pops out of the side of his head. So yeah, Chopper is a C1 unit.
Yes,
which is
C110P.
Yeah, a relative of the a relative of the R2 series.
Yes.
So and they are ones. So yeah, Chopper was sort of that unique design droid for the Rebel series, and voiced by Dave Filoni, actually, series creator.
Yeah.
And creator of the Clone Wars as well.
Chopper also has a very, very, very small cameo, or at least a C1 droid in Rogue One.
That is confirmed to be Chopper.
He is there.
That is confirmed to be Chopper. So he's milling about Yavin base.
Yeah,
in Rogue One, and the ghost there. The ghost shows up in the battle as well, in the Battle of Scarif, and it's at the back of the sort of Yavin base, so you can see the ghost is there. So Rebel, and I think there's one of the announcements says there's an announcement to Yavin base that says paging General Syndulla, and that's General Hera Syndulla. So she does exist as well, and we do see Chopper in live action, moving about in the Yavin base. So
correct.
I like Chopper. He goes like dot, 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 dot. He says words, but you can't really hear him. So he's in his little garbled droid voice. Now, this is a character that, like Mr. Bones, has got. This is my number one.
Is it a named character?
Yes, that's got infamy recently.
Oh.
Right, thanks to the Skywalker saga. Okay. This is a droid that's called Nobot, also called the Ghost Droid.
Okay.
And this is a 3PO series protocol droid that's coloured in sort of grey and black, and appears in Mos Espa on Tatooine. Now, this was initially an extra character in The Phantom Menace, and there was a fan contest to give him a name and give him sort of a backstory. So, this droid is sort of under many tales of infamy of what happened to it, a bit of a mystery, right?
There he is.
So, yes.
I've got him up.
And Jira, a friend of Anakin Skywalker, the old woman who tells him about the sandstorm that's coming in Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Jira would tell her version of the tale of what happened to Nobot. They say one day he walked into town, this protocol droid covered in blaster fire and blood. His serial number's been scored off. No one knows what happened to him, right? But the only thing he can play back is the sound of a woman screaming, crying for help. That's the only sound he plays. He just walks around and no one knows who he is, and then he just repeats it over and over again. It's dark stuff, but it's gained recent acclaim because there's a side quest in episode 1 of when you played Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga that Nobot appears in.
Oh.
There's a room where you can go, and he's just in there, and then he runs out, and then you have to kind of follow him through the city.
Okay.
So,
it's a bit of a weird one.
Nobot, I just really like it because it's really strange and really sort of, and there's a bit of a mystery to it, and I quite like that element, especially for Star Wars. We don't really get anything like that. So it's kind of like a bit of a horror, a bit of a sort of a thriller element to Star Wars with this sort of all these tales of surrounding this droid and what happened to it, and the only thing it can play is this sort of screaming from this person who probably died. And he's covered in blaster marks and blood, and I really like. I sort of feel like, I suppose I don't like it, but I feel I'm intrigued by the potential and by the possibility of this character.
Nice.
So that's my number one. That is my top droid, Nobot.
My number one is not a character.
Okay.
It is a class of droids.
Mm-hmm.
Now, everyone in Star Wars knows that you have droids that are made more for tasks, right? Your medics, your mouse droids. Mm-hmm. Now everyone loves the Gonk droid.
Yes.
Which I was going to mention, but everyone Gonk is an obvious choice for people's favourite droids.
Gonk droid almost made my list.
It almost made my list as well. And I saw something and thought, you know what? That's like the Gonk droid, but potentially a bit better, and no one mentions it. Okay. My number one pick is the CLL8 binary load lifters.
Oh, the load lifter.
For one reason and one reason only. Mm-hmm. If you do not give them a task to do, they're made to lift heavy things, if you couldn't have guessed, by the way. Mm-hmm. If you do not give them a task to do, they will just stack boxes and keep stacking boxes until the floor caves in, and then they fall to the floor below and continue to stack boxes. They are idiotic, and they're great. I love them. That's why it's my number one. It's just a big 3 meter tall forklift that just stacks boxes until the floor caves in. I like to imagine that on one ship, there's been at least one ship where there's just been a hole in the floor because it's just kept stacking boxes.
Stacking all the boxes, yeah. Is the load lifters are a really interesting type of droid because obviously they were named in episode 4 when C-3PO tells Uncle Owen that his first job was programming binary load lifters. Mm-hmm. So, and yeah, they were made for sort of walk around and perform tasks like sort of engineering and fixing things, but they will just stack boxes. They're made for cargo transport, and they're just a heavy duty level of droid, so They're class 5 droids. We talked about sort of the classification of droids.
Yes.
And how they're sort of how they're classed via their sort of tasks. So they're like construction droids and attack droids and things like that, and combat droids. And then there's the more slightly lower level ones like the R2D2s and the C3POs and the protocol droids. So
yeah,
I like the binary load. That's a good pick. Nice little deep cut pick there for the binary load lifter. And from the binary load lifter, from the droids, we move on to the ships.
Capital ships.
Yes, we move on to capital ships. Now, we have a variety of capital ships here through all eras. Now, I've said that this is the same type of loadout. We're looking at all media, so that's comics, films, TV. If it shows up and it's in Star Wars, we can classify it here.
Yes.
So, I'll kick it off.
Go for it.
The Harrower Class Sith Dreadnought from the Old Republic.
I do not have that.
Okay, now this is one that we did last time. Now, this is a bit of a lost episode for us. We did do capital ships beforehand, and unfortunately, it didn't make it to air. So, but this will make it to air. And this is the Harrower Class Sith Dreadnought as part of the sort of larger series of Star Destroyers. And the Harrower is one of the mainline ships in the Sith fleet back in the Old Republic. So it's got everything. It uses a battle cruiser. It's got heavily reinforced hull plating. It's got turbo lasers. It's got quad lasers. It's got ion cannons. It can carry 95 starfighters for the Supremacy class of starfighter, and it's got the 5 docking bays. Its most distinctive feature is sort of the forked edges on the side. It's sort of those big ridges, and in the middle, it's got the hangar bays where it can immediately just shoot out ships. So very intimidating looking. I love the big look of it. I like the sort of the gun lines you can see on the front of the Harrower. So there's a great video. I'm going to plug this guy's channel. There's a great video by a person called Space Doc who covers a lot of Star Wars ships, especially capital ships. So he does a great video breaking down the Harrower Class Sith Dreadnought. So go and watch that. So I'm a big fan of this ship, a big fan of the Old Republic, especially sort of you see what the modern day Star Destroyers sort of have become, and when moving on from the Harrower. So yeah, I quite like the design of this ship. Again, these were mainly aesthetic pieces. These weren't sort of effectiveness or whatever. These are things that look cool to me. So, and the Harrower is definitely that. So that is my pick.
Okay. My first pick, I'm going to get the obvious one out of the way.
Right.
This is the only one that only one out of another one, maybe somewhat obvious. I'm just going to get out there, the Executor.
Oh, the Executor.
Yes.
Okay.
That's, again, similarly, it just looks cool.
The Super Star Destroyer, yeah.
This was on my list. This is one of 2 that were on my list when we did this before it was lost. It just looks, it's just a massive arrowhead that flies.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Let's ignore the fact that it had one flaw that did cost them a lot.
You're flying to the bridge.
Yes. Let's ignore that. Let's look at it. It's great. Design-wise, fantastic. It's just a big, sleek, sharp-looking thing.
Sharp, nice. Really big, really intimidating. There were loads of Super Star Destroyers that were made.
Yes.
The Executor was the first. I think the Executor was the first in Legends. I mean, there was another one that was made before then in canon that was commanded by General Tag, who was seen on the Death Star. But yes, he survived.
Nice.
Because in Legends he died on the Death Star.
I mean, that would make sense.
In canon he survived. He was the one that went to go investigate Dantooine.
Oh, okay.
In Episode 4. So General Tag managed to survive and he got promoted to Grand General where he could command all of the Imperial Army. And he got his own Super Star Destroyer. But then they made the Executor sort of the more successful version of the line.
Yes.
And there was its sister ship, the Lusankya, which is my favourite of the Executor series of Super Star Destroyers. But yeah, a great pick. A phenomenal pick. Now, this is a double pick for me.
Ooh.
I've gone for 2. I've gone for the Venator class Star Destroyer and the Victory class Star Destroyer.
Okay.
Now, you'll know the Venator class Star Destroyer from its ubiquitous use throughout the 3 years of the Clone Wars. Unfortunately, it was retired at the end of the Clone Wars when the Republic became the Empire due to the effects of the Tarkin Doctrine. But the Venator class Star Destroyer was the most impressive series as made by Kuat Drive Yards. Kuat Drive Yards are going to get a lot of love in this portion of the episode because they're a great shipwright company and they make massive triangles. So the Venator was mostly seen for sporting its big red stripe, where it's got the big hangar bays, the 2 big bay launch decks on the front of the ship, and the sort of 8 turbo lasers it carries at the back with its dual bridge design, you see. One bridge handles starfighter strategy and communication, and the other is the command bridge, where it handles battlefield tactics. So, I love the Venator. You've seen so many different variations on the Venator. You've got the red stripe. I've seen Venators that have had sort of a blue decked out as well, have blue paint. I really like this design of the Imperial Venator, where it's all grey. They'll grade it all out, and they put some black in there and the Imperial logo. I really like the design of the Imperial Venator as well. It doesn't get enough love, I don't think. I think that's the one thing, if I ever made a piece of Star Wars media, I'd have to find a way to put the Imperial Venator in there somewhere, because I feel like it doesn't get enough love in the Imperial era, because it was mainly designed as a starfighter carrier, and that's not what the Empire wanted. The Empire wanted, big shows of force, we've got big ships and big guns, whereas the Venator is mainly focused on carrying starfighters and carrying bombers and things like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really meant as a ship-to-ship capital ship, more of a sort of deployment platform. Again, shout out to Space Doc. Watch his video on the Venator. It's great. But yeah, I really like the Venator, and I wish it got more use in the Galactic Civil War. So, and my second choice is the Victory class Star Destroyer. It kind of looks like a sort of a primitive Imperial class. If you look at it, it's got that sort of framework, and this is the Victory 1, by the way, not the Victory 2. Because I know there is 2 versions. The Victory 1 class Star Destroyer is a bit more basic, a bit more slimmed down. It looks like sort of a bit of a thin, tall Star Destroyer, I believe, an Imperial class. So it's got that framework. It's got that sort of double sensor towers. It's got what I really like is on the sides, it's got these sort of extended platforms, and they sort of jut out from the sides of it, and they've got sort of barrages on there. So I quite like the look of the Imperial and the Victory class Star Destroyer. So this is the Imperial Victory class Star Destroyer, the Victory 1 class, and the Venator. Nice.
I nearly put the Acclimator on my list.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Nearly. I did not.
That would have been a strong pick.
It would have been. I was going to pick... I was going to do something else next, but I feel like this makes sense. You mentioned the Imperial class Star Destroyer.
Okay.
What's better than one Imperial class Star Destroyer?
Oh.
How about 2 of them put together?
No, not the Gemini.
I picked the Gemini from Star Wars Visions.
No, okay, well...
I said to you before, I was like, this is my one that I think technically counts, because technically this might not have been one, but it is a capital ship.
Yes,
it's 2 of them.
It is a capital ship. I'll give you that. The Gemini class Star Destroyer is a capital ship.
It's just 2 of them.
It is.
Put together.
It's just 2 Imperial Star Destroyers fused together by what's called a hyper cannon.
Yes.
Which is a sort of a massive... I think it's... I don't know if it's supposed to be given like Kyber Crystal Death Star technology, and it's able to fire through hyperspace. I think that's the gimmick. It's able to fire through hyperspace so it can hit something systems away. The Gemini class Star Destroyer was made by the twins, the Sith twins, after Sith Eternal, because this happens far in the future.
Yeah.
So it is 2 sort of repurposed, refitted Imperial 2 class Star Destroyers fused together by a hypercannon. So I wish this was canon. We don't know whether Legends, we don't know whether Visions is canon yet, but this design is so unique, and it hits so many boxes for me of having 2 huge ships sort of put together with this massive super weapon. It's a gimmick that's begging to be used. I
also knew you were going to pick. One of us had to pick the Imperial class Star Destroyer, so I thought I'll pick this one. Because it's a bit different. It's different enough.
I haven't thought about the Gemini in a long time, so I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
It was like the first one that came to my head.
Yeah.
The first ship that popped up.
I haven't thought about that in a while, so it's nice to see that design again.
It's a great design.
Next, I have you might not know this is the Kildarbaye class battleship. And this is a Mandalorian vessel. So I didn't know, this is the one that is sort of the newest to me, right? Because I didn't know much about this. I was looking for... I knew I wanted some sort of Old Republic Mandalorian ship in there. There's one that's coming up next that is like that. But this is the Kildarbaye class battleship. What's called the Kildarbaye class cruiser. And was used in the Galactic Civil War by the Mandalorians and by Tai Bazan. And Tai Bazan is an infamous Legends character. This is a Legends source. And he's a male crime lord from an Axis who rose during the Galactic Civil War, and has a faction known as the Zon Consortium, and he sort of seeks revenge against the Imperials for sort of outcasting him. So he forms his own criminal empire, his own faction, and he uses these sort of Mandalorian vessels called the Kildarbaye class battle cruisers. And of course, Mandalorians, they know how to make things.
Yes, correct.
So it's got a great Class 2 hyperdrive. It's got 25 heavy turbo lasers. It's got ion cannons. It's got mass driver missile launchers. It's stacked out, and we know the Mandalorians' weapons are their religion. So they come up with loads of stuff. It's the Kildarbaye class was made by Mandal Hypernautics, and it was used as a cruiser and a battleship to sort of enforce blockades and things like that. So. I'm a big fan of the design of this ship, and the next one as well. I really like how they sort of use like sort of Mandalorian helmet designs, and it's very angular, it's very rectangular.
Okay.
So I quite like this is a Kildarbaye class battleship, and that's my pick.
Nice. My next pick is it's a personal ship.
Okay.
Of someone who we've not ever, I don't think, spoken about, or not spoken about enough.
Okay.
This guy knows the trap when he sees one.
Oh no!
I've picked the home one.
Oh wow! Okay.
The home one.
Nice.
Famous ship, Mon Calamari ship, Admiral Akbar.
Yep.
It's just I don't know. I saw it.
The home one.
I saw it and I thought, oh, that's a bit different.
Yeah,
it's a bit.
Mon Calamari cruisers. I feel like I was destined to put. There's not a Mon Calamari cruiser on this list.
Okay.
I was like, I thought to myself, I hope he puts a Mon Calamari cruiser in there.
Yeah.
Because it's the MC-80A massive. Like, these were designed to be like cities on Mon Cala on their planet. It was designed to be like huge buildings that would go under the water and that could take off as ships. So I really loved the design of any Mon Calamari vessel. Even if like the MC-80 or the MC-90 or even the Radus from The Last Jedi is another example of a Mon Calamari ship that works, and the Admiral Radis's his cruiser as well, with that massive long bridge that's at the bottom of it. So I like that one as well. So yeah, the Mon Calamari cruisers are always going to be a great pick.
It's just a bit different.
The Profundity, that's what it's called. I was looking for the
nice.
It's called the Profundity, and it is Admiral Radis's lead command ship in the Battle of Scarif.
Interesting.
And it's an MC-75, not an MC-80. It's an MC-75 Mon Calamari cruiser.
I do also want to point out, we're like halfway through, and we've still not picked something that both of us have had yet.
We're doing well.
We are doing well.
Next is two, but they're kind of connected.
Okay.
Next I have the Candoci type Dreadnought and the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser / star frigate.
Do not have them.
Okay. The Candoci type Dreadnought is another Mandalorian vessel, and the reason why I picked two is the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser is based on the Candoci type Dreadnought. So they're kind of a successor. The Dreadnought heavy cruiser is a successor to the Candoci type, right? And you can the Candoci Dreadnought is very recognisable for its front prow, for its sort of huge, for its angular nature. It looks like a big sort of block with stuff sticking out of it. It's got that greebling. I love that in Star Wars. In Star Wars, things are just covered. It's just covered in stuff. Like there's little bits, there's little notches, there's little things that come out the side, there's things that come out this side, there's huge sort of engine pods everywhere. I love that design of Star Wars. That sort of weathered, greebling style of where there's just little bits and little details where it looks practical.
Yeah.
It looks like it's actually there.
Yes.
And that's what I love in Star Wars. I love that design of that world where everything's just kiboshed and kitbashed together, and I really enjoy that. So that is the Candoci type Dreadnought. It was something used by the Mandalorians in the Mandalorian Civil Wars, where the factions of Mandalorians fought each other back in the time of the Old Republic. So I really like the Candoci type Dreadnought, and the most famous of the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser is the Katana fleet used by Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's my favourite. Well, probably is my favourite Star Wars character, right? So that's why I've picked those two: the Candoci type Dreadnought and the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser. Again, shout out to Space Doc. Watch his video on the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser. It's a great breakdown of the ship's shortcomings, pros and cons, and its sort of armament, and how it's probably more effective than a Star Destroyer in a fleet.
Nice.
So yeah, that is my. And also, the reason why I like the Dreadnought class heavy cruiser is it doesn't look like anything the Imperials have. It doesn't have that sort of very wedge-shaped Kuat drive yard design, because it's made by Rendelli Star Drive, who sort of make sort of very odd-looking things. I feel like they're behind the they're behind some of the more unique starships. So the Hammerhead, remember the Hammerhead class cruiser from Rogue One? That's main Daily Star Drive, and also Dreadnought class heavy cruiser.
Nice.
So that is my pick. And what is yours for next?
I'm taking us Legends again, back to Legends, and I'm taking us to a Terminus class destroyer.
Oh,
a modified Terminus class destroyer.
Okay.
I'm going for the Ascendant Spear.
Wow, okay, you got names.
Are you aware of the Ascendant Spear?
I'm aware of the Terminus class.
Okay. The Ascendant Spear is a Terminus class that has been modified with a class 0.5 hyperdrive. It's the fastest hyperspace compared to other capital ships.
Yeah.
It can also be driven by through bionic implants. So essentially the person can control the whole ship with their fingers and their hands.
Yeah, nice.
It's just a massive, really fast
the Terminus
ship.
Class is an amazing ship anyway. It's defined as this huge sort of wedge. It's this massive long wedge in space with the wings, and it's what I described with the Candoci. It just looks like it's been kit bashed from bits together, like, oh, we've got this bit here and that bit there, and we'll form it together into something that looks like a ship. It looks like it's just a big ruler. Also,
it even mentions here, it's capable of cutting a Hammerhead class cruiser cleanly in half.
Nice. Nice. Take that.
Yeah, it's just a big ship that was used by Darth Carriage to wipe out Republic fleets.
There we go.
Or Sith ships.
The Terminus class Star Destroyer. So, for my pick, I've gone back into the Clone Wars, and I've gone to a ship you will know, most likely.
Okay.
It is the Providence class Dreadnought Carrier Destroyer. And you know the Providence, you're nodding your head. It is the big needle-like ship, big flagship of the Separatists, and it's mainly used. The most famous is probably the Invisible Hand used by General Grievous, previously owned by Newt Gunray, but the Providence class Dreadnought was the mainline capital ship, command ship for the Separatist Alliance. Used in many famous battles like the Battle of Lower Seiyu, the Battle of Coruscant, that was led by the Invisible Hand, and Dooku as Providence class, Ventress commanded one as well as General Grievous. So, yes, the Providence class is a very famous and very infamous capital ship across the 3 years of the Clone Wars, and I love the sort of needle shell design of it. It looks really thin, and it's got that really tall command spire at the top, and there's sort of a bit at the bottom as well, so it looks like the command spire runs the entire length of the top of the ship.
Yeah.
And you see that sort of frontal bridge as well. It's got the double bridges, so I like that. And it's covered in bristling weapons. I love all the spines and spikes coming off it. That's great detailing. And again, the key to the Star Wars ship is just make it look like a mess. You know, it just looks like a bunch of bits, and it's all put together, but it works. The design works. The sort of outer shell design really looks great. So that is my pick for number one. It is maybe I'll just pick the Invisible Hand, to be honest, because it's the most famous of the Providence class dreadnoughts. So, and there's two versions of the ship actually. There's a standard Providence class carrier, and there's the Providence class dreadnought, which is just a souped up version of the main ship, just a bigger version. So
we have been close again.
Okay.
I have not picked the Invisible Hand.
Okay.
I have picked the Malevolence.
Oh.
Grievous's other ship.
Grievous's other command ship. Okay.
I was sat there and he said, "Oh, Grievous's ship," and I thought, "Oh, here we go." But no, I picked the Malevolence.
Okay.
Essentially, similar thing. It's a big, threatening-looking ship.
Yeah, it's a big, scary-looking ship.
It's spiky. It's just, it's beefy.
It's got that huge ion cannon.
Yeah.
The Malevolence. Yeah.
This is what I would want. I wouldn't want a ship that's like, I want it to look threatening. I want people to see it and just to cower and fear.
Yeah, exactly. You want ships that sort of dwarf other fleets, and that's what the Malevolence did. The Malevolence was probably rivaling the Super Star Destroyer, rivaling the Eclipse class Star Destroyer as the biggest ship ever constructed.
Yeah.
So, again, shout out to General Grievous.
Yeah.
Big up to General Grievous for commanding these huge warships. So, I did mention, by the way, when we talk about the Providence, famous Clone Wars character Admiral Trench also used the Providence class.
Oh, nice.
And I like Admiral Trench. But yeah, back to the Malevolence. It was I believe the Malevolence was sort of compared to the Bismarck for its sort of the giant warship that was hunted down by fleets of others. So I believe it's called the Subjugator class. Is that its name?
Yes.
The Subjugator class heavy cruiser with
Correct.
Malevolence.
Yeah.
So I don't think many were made either. I only think 4 or 5 were actually made of the Malevolence. So yes, and the design for the thing is absolutely amazing. It looks like a huge, and you can still tell it's a separatist craft because it's that sort of shelling, but sort of the inner sort of city work in the middle. We can see all those lights on and things. So yeah, I really like the design of the Malevolence. So.
That's it. That's my number one.
So capital ships, great picks. Actually, we've developed a fine fleet, Corey.
We have.
We've developed a very fearsome battle group in those picks.
Capital ships, clean sweep.
Clean sweep.
Droids, clean sweep.
Background characters. Shall we begin?
Possibly. We might get through this one as well.
Okay. Now I'm going to go with, for my top, Artuous Gnay.
Okay, I don't know.
Are you familiar with Artuous Gnay?
I am not.
Right. Artuous Gnay, also called Root Gnay, is Before I tell you a bit more about Artuous Gnay, I'll just say that these are all live-action characters, right?
Okay.
These are all characters that have appeared in the films.
Yes.
Background characters, you might not have seen them.
Yeah.
Maybe 1 line, 2 lines. You won't know these people are. These aren't going to be your Luke Skywalkers and Darth Vaders, folks.
No.
You know, these are going to be a bit different. So, Artuous Gnay was a Nemoidian member of the Trade Federation.
Oh, yes.
Who was an aide and advisor to Viceroy Newt Gunray
yes.
and Rune Harco in the final years of the Galactic Republic during the Clone Wars.
Well, that's a bit familiar.
Right? Yes, he is. So, Root Gnay, he's no longer with us. He died on Mustafar, killed by Darth Vader.
Can I point out quickly?
Yeah.
Root Gnay sounds like a knockoff version of Newt Gunray.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why I picked him. Because Root Gnay is actually, you can reuse the letters to make Newt Gunray.
Great.
So,
whoever thought of that should get a raise.
George Lucas, give him his.
That guy had like 5 minutes left to think of a name and just
Gnay.
Root Gnay.
So. His full name is Artuous Gonay.
Okay.
It's shortened to Root Gnay.
Great.
And he was in Revenge of the Sith. He also appeared in the background of the Phantom Menace.
Okay.
So he was played by a chap called Colin Ware, who also played Lutros Dauphine in Phantom Menace. And there's actually a little fact about his name here if you'd like to be interested.
Go on then.
Gnay's, this is Wikipedia, by the way. Shout out to you, Wikipedia. Gnay's name is a play on the name of Newt Gunray.
Yep.
Who'da thunk? And the origins seem to stem from the fact that the otherwise anonymous Nemoidian aide in tan robes, incorrectly referred to as Newt Gunray in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, the visual dictionary. The error is partially fixed in Star Wars: The Complete Visual Dictionary, where he is identified as Root Gnay. Whether or not this is meant to name him as a relative to Newt Gunray is unknown. In the costumes of Star Wars, he is popularly referred to as Root Gnay.
Nice.
So there we go. And in 2014, the character's full name was revealed as Artuous in Rogues Gallery, The Devious Nemoidians Revealed, an article written by Tim Weekhoven for the 147th issue of Star Wars Insider magazine. So there you go.
Nice.
The name was given under a request of Leland Chi, as he wanted an actual name and not an anagram for Newt Gunray. So there we go. Artuous Root Gnay is my pick.
I can't. My first pick does not rival that.
Okay.
However, my first pick is massively underappreciated.
Go on.
Right. Can I paint the scene for you, please?
Okay. Paint away.
Right. Luke Skywalker. Mm-hmm. Right. Rancor pit. Mm-hmm. Right. If not for this character,
oh no,
Luke Skywalker would be gone.
I know what this is.
He technically appears in live action. Part of him appears in live action.
Oh no, it's this, isn't it? It's the skeleton, isn't it?
It's the skull.
Oh, it's the skull.
Who is Skull? Bidlow Quirv.
Bidlow Quirv.
Bidlow Quirv.
Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
What's his name?
Bidlow Quirv.
Bidlow Quirv.
Bidlow Quirv. Who is Bidlow Quirv?
Right, Bidlow Quirv is a Corellian pirate and a smuggler who served Jabba Disilogic Tiura. That's probably butchered.
Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah. A tall, grizzled man with scarred features. Mm-hmm. Now, this guy is canon and also expanded on in Legends.
Right.
He did not like Jabba's top pilot, Han Solo.
No, imagine not.
And they often clashed. Essentially, what ended up happening was... let me see if I can find it. Thank you again, Wikipedia, for helping me learn about Bidlow Quirv.
Yeah, Bidlow Quirv.
Quirv discovered a crashed ship in the Tatooine desert with a live Rancor inside. Hoping to present the beast to Jabba for his birthday, he sought the aid of Fortuna to help him transport it to Jabba's palace.
Okay.
Jabba was impressed with the initiative shown by his 2 top lieutenants and offered to make one of them his new major domo. The other would be given the great honour.
Yes.
Jabba did not specify what this was.
Okay.
Quirv, being greedy, accepted the great honour. He became the Rancor's first victim and was devoured in the pit below Jabba's court.
The funniest thing is, the Wikipedia picture for Bigelow Quirv is his skull flying towards the button in the Rancor pit.
Yeah, because that's all he is in canon.
All he is in canon, in the body.
That's all it is.
Bigelow Quirv. Poor Bigelow Quirv.
See, the thing is, right, we mentioned in background characters the fact that
This is the most... No, I feel like this tops Root Gnay.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Because we mentioned this before. You can pick any one from any scene and it will have a backstory.
This is a skull. This is a skull.
It's got a whole backstory.
Bigelow Quirv. Oh, all right. Shout out to you, Bigelow. I feel like Bigelow Quirv may be the steal of this episode, to be honest. If we've done nothing up to this point, we've given Bigelow Quirv his minute in the sunshine, right?
Give us more Bigelow Quirv. George Lucas, man, give us more Bigelow Quirv.
Next. I don't think anything's going to top Bigelow Quirv.
No, none of mine are
going to top here. We can stop here. Right, see you next week. This is... are you familiar, Corey, with character actor Warwick Davis?
Yes.
Are you familiar with the sort of legacy in Star Wars of character actor Warwick Davis? You know, Wicket the Ewok.
Again, mentioned in Phantom Menace, about 4 people.
4 people in the Phantom Menace. One of those people is called Grimy.
Okay, you mentioned... Okay.
Yeah, I mentioned him in the Phantom Menace episode.
Yep.
It's Grimy with an E, and Grimy is actually not his... We don't know what his actual name is, but it was an on-screen nickname given to... the character played by Warwick Davis in Mos Espa shortly before the Boonta Eve Classic that was just walking in the background of Qui-Gon and Padme and Jar Jar heading towards the shop in Mos Espa. Watto's shop, just a guy walking in the background. And the story behind this, behind Grimy, is that the picture was captured of Warwick Davis just in this costume, and it was a nickname given to him by fan groups on sort of forums speculating about the Phantom Menace, and they thought he'd be some kind of revolutionary character, right? They thought he'd be some kind of great guest star for Warwick Davis. No, he's just in the background, walking in the background, and he's just called Grimy, and that's just his name. But the story behind Warwick's appearance in this scene is just he was on set one day. You know, he just walked on. He was just on set, you know, looking around, and George Lucas said, "Hey, we'll dress you. We'll give you some makeup, dress you up in these sort of intergalactic backpacker clothes, you know, put a rag over your head, and you can just walk across the back of the, back of the scene." That's what he did in Tunisia. Warwick was just on set that day, and George Lucas said, "Sure thing, come along," and had him walk across the back of the step.
Nice.
So there you go. That is Grimy.
Grimy. So my next one, I'm going to keep it Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Now, he's not a background character in the sense of you might not see him. You do see this guy, but it's not really expanded on.
Right.
My pick is Ben Quadraneros from the pod race.
Ben Quadraneros.
I wanted to pick someone from the pod race.
Right.
His design intrigued me. Essentially, I mean, backstory-wise, it's what you expect. He's a guy who's a racer, right? That's his backstory. He races, he makes his way up the leagues, gets to that race and fluffs it because his car doesn't start.
Yeah, his racer doesn't start.
His engine starts right as it detaches and boom, fireworks.
Everything flies, yeah.
Now, after Phantom Menace, in canon, he actually becomes Sebulba's biggest rival. Apparently, he becomes Sebulba's greatest rival, and at some point does end up winning that race.
Wow.
At least once.
Ben Quadraneros.
There's a comeback story if you want one.
You know what? It goes out to you, Ben Quadraneros. He's got Ben. His first name's Ben.
Yeah, that is a weird name.
Ben Quadraneros. Okay. It's because he's got 4 arms.
Yes.
And his pod has 4. I remember because it like blinks off and then it all shoots out everywhere.
Yes.
So, we have Ben Quadraneros. Are you familiar with Tessic?
No.
Tessic is a Quarren who was the accountant for crime lord Jabba the Hutt. And Tessic was in the background of Return of the Jedi, and he was Jabba's bookkeeper. So he took advantage of his position to embezzle money from Jabba and try and assassinate him and take over his criminal empire. So Jabba was aware of Tessic's sort of schemes, and they were revealed to him by the Bomar monks, and and he just kind of kept Tessic around because he was smart and he sort of knew what he was doing. So he was actually involved with the Empire at some point as well. But he's just a background character in Return of the Jedi, and I quite like the look of him. He's also, there was an era in Legends that compared him to the Separatist senator for Dak at that time, which was Mon Cala under Quarren rule, called Tikis. But it turns out that Tessic and Tikis are two separate characters.
Okay.
It's just because in the rough draft for the Attack of the Clones script, Tikis was named Tessic.
Nice.
And that was the version used in the novel Cloak of Deception, which is I think a prelude to Episode 2. He's called Tessic and not Tikis. But it's Tessic that appears in the book. But the Tessic is actually presumably now Tikis. So it's assumed that Tikis was under alias as Tessic.
Nice. Great.
So there you go. Two very similar. I like how the story of two very similar names can get mixed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, my pick is Tessic.
Okay. I'm keeping it. Spaceport Cantina, man. Tatooine.
Okay, right. I've got one from the Tatooine Cantina as well. So
I wonder if it's the same person.
Okay, who have you got?
So, my guy is a man. It's male, by the way.
Okay.
Goes by two names.
Okay.
He's got one really easy name, one really long name. He's got Labria and Candoci Malak.
Candoci Malak.
He is the Devil Man, essentially. Red-faced black corns.
The Deveronian.
Yes. And he's just in the background.
He's an
chilling.
infamous criminal, isn't he?
He is.
Yeah.
But at that point, he's called Labria. He's not a criminal.
No.
But no, in fact, he is Candoci Malak. He's a very, very deadly spy.
Yes.
Essentially, he's just a really evil man.
He's in the background.
Yeah.
He's in the background.
Again, in canon, he's just a spy. In, again, legend, he's got a massive backstory. He ends up being found out and is eaten alive.
Yeah.
Boba Fett finds him, I believe.
Okay.
I think Boba Fett's on his tail.
Malak. Yeah, he's hiding out in the cantina in Chalmers Space Cantina.
Yes.
You see him for a shot, don't you? See the Devil Man looking around. You know, he's a Deveronian.
To be fair, design-wise, I know it's simple because it's a devil. It's a bit obvious, but he is a bit creepy and he's a bit.
Yeah, the Deveronians have actually got a bit of love nowadays. There's a Rebels character as well called Vizago, who is a Deveronian as well. So the Deveronians have actually got a bit of acclaim recently. So, Corey, are you a sand trooper?
I don't think so.
Are you looking around Tatooine looking for those pesky droids?
Where's a Tatooine again?
Can't you find the droids? Are they not the droids you're looking for?
They're not.
Are you looking around the desert in your landing craft or on your dewback?
Where is this going?
Looking for the droids? Then you, my friend, might know Davin Felth, Imperial Sand Trooper, a.k.a. Mr. Luxor Droids.
Right.
Now, you'll know the scene in Episode 4.
Yes.
The Sand Troopers are down around the escape pod. I'll do a dramatic reenactment, perhaps. The Sand Trooper turns around and he goes, "Someone wasn't a pod. The tracks go off in this direction." And then suddenly someone pops up from out of screen holding a piece of C-3PO and he goes, "Luxor Droids!" That's Davin Felth.
Right.
He is now Mr. Luxor Droids. Was a Sand Trooper on the Tatooine garrison. A part of the 501st sent down by Lord Vader to find R2-D2 and C-3PO. He was in the desert. He pops up and he says, "Luxor Droids." He's also part of the Sand Troopers that go into the cantina, actually, and scope out the booth where Han Solo is looking for Obi-Wan and Luke, but don't find him. So that is Davin Felth. And he's just I like how any random stormtrooper with a line is given a name and a bit of backstory. So that's him. That's Davin Felth. I quite like him.
Nice. I'm going to take us to the sequels.
Right, take us away.
I'm taking us to The Force Awakens.
Okay.
I'm taking us to a guy who has an intimidating look, has a potentially cool backstory.
Okay.
And from what I remember of The Force Awakens, isn't really used much.
Right.
Because my mini names, he's called the Red Raider, the Sergeant Scourge of the Lost Clusters,
it's
Blood Buccaneer, Crimson Crosshair.
It's Sidon Ithano.
Correct. Now, this man...
It's not actually Crosshair, it's Corsair.
Oh, is it?
A Corsair is like a pirate.
Ah. Crosshair sounds better.
Oh. It's not even spelt like Crosshair.
Yeah, I know. That's me reading it wrong.
Yeah.
But it's because he's gonna shoot you.
Okay, yeah, he's got a rifle. Yeah.
But this guy, right, first off, He's wearing a helmet from the race of General Grievous.
Yeah, from a Kaleesh helmet, yeah.
He's not a Kaleeshian, he's a Delphidian.
Delphidian, yeah.
He's just a guy in red who's like a pirate and looks menacing.
He looks great.
And I'm fairly certain he does nothing.
No, I feel like he's sort of the mercenaries that Finn tries to hire so he can leave the planet, so he can leave Takodana, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then Finn doesn't even leave. Finn runs back into the battle, and they just go off.
Yes.
So this guy's been given backstory after backstory from novels and things like that.
Yeah.
He even appears in an episode of Resistance as well.
Oh, is he?
Giving super battle droids to the pirates that want to invade the Colossus station. And even then, he doesn't do much. He just turns up in the ship and goes, "Here's some super battle droids," and then he leaves. So, yes, and you'll know you might know the Delphidian. They are a series of sort of blue-skinned aliens, and very famous for their pirate skills. So, yeah, it's been across. It's been across the sequel trilogy, and there's a great short story called "The Crimson Corsair and the Lost Treasure of Count Dooku," which is great, where he actually finds a clone. He actually finds a clone from the Clone Wars called Kix, and he freezes him, and Kix sort of joins the crew with Sidon and Thano. So,
yes.
That's a great pick. I feel that's a very strong pick.
Who's your final pick?
My final pick is... Do you like going back to Tatooine?
Do you know what my fan was Tatooine as well?
Right. Do you like
There's a lot of Tatooine.
Do you like going to Chalmers Space Cantina and sitting in a booth behind someone?
Sure.
Right?
Okay, who you got?
Are you Trinto Duaba?
I don't know who that is.
Okay. Trinto Duaba is a background character from Episode 4, A New Hope. And... you'll know him because his very sort of aged face looks like an old man. He just looks like an old... Effectively, in Episode 4, he looks like a man in a mask.
Right.
He looks like a man in a weird, creepy creature mask with a scarf around his head. And sort of sitting in the background, sitting behind Momon Nardon, I think his name is, the Hammerhead guy. Sits behind him, right? And you'll also know him from the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Oh, God.
He's in there. He's in the background when B. Arthur's dancing around, singing to everybody.
Nice.
Going, "You can't close the cantina." You know, that's it. He's there. He's in the background there. He's also, strangely enough, this guy, he's in The Force Awakens.
Oh, is he?
He's in Takodana, in the same place where Sidon and Thano is. He's in the bar.
Great.
He's there as well. So this guy, he's going around the galaxy. You wonder why he appears in so many places. Now, he looks relatively normal, actually, in Force Awakens. That's because they use less prosthetics on him, because they got the actual actor back from Episode 4 to play him. So they got the same guy to play Trinto Duaba from Episode 4, who just sat in the background wearing the mask.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing is, the mask that he's actually wearing is... The mask he's actually wearing is a Frankenstein's monster mask.
Oh, very nice.
So he's wearing sort of a repurposed Frankenstein's monster mask, sat in the background of the cantina. It's Trinto Duaba.
Great.
So I'll name the man himself.
Go for it.
1 second.
Bing, 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 bing.
There we go.
There we go.
A guy called Salo Gardner.
There we are.
There we go. Portrayed him. So that's in both Episode 4 and in The Force Awakens.
Nice.
So good for him. And his race is called a Stennis Shifter, and he's from Stenaros. So there we go.
Right. Well, my final one again. Do you like Tatooine?
We're back in Tatooine. Are we back in the cantina?
He does not appear in the cantina.
Okay.
He does leave from a ship from Mos Eisley, however. Now, I explained this guy to you before. I know you know who this is because I've had a conversation about him before.
Okay.
Now, this man is a Jawa.
Right.
Jawas, right, with a little small hooded thing.
Houdini.
Yep, that's exactly. We go Houdini in a really high-pitched voice. This is a Jawa called Jot.
Jot the Jawa.
Jot the Jawa. Now, Jot is a male Jawa. And his whole job was to essentially any droids that were captured, he was supposed to wipe the memories, right? Get rid of the memories, wipe them clean. Before he would wipe the memories, he would sit down with a projector and watch all the memories of the droids, dreaming of going to space, kind of like Anakin.
Yeah.
R2-D2 comes in, and here comes Jot. We're going to wipe R2-D2's memory.
Yeah.
And just essentially watch his Star Wars.
Watches all of Star Wars.
Watches all the events happen and goes, you
Yeah.
know what? I can't wipe this memory, so I'm going to not wipe R2's memory, and I'm instead going to leave Tatooine on a ship from Mos Eisley before Mos Eisley essentially gets destroyed.
Yes.
So he's alive still, somewhere in space. He's somewhere.
Now, we know this is really weird because Jot is a character from a certain point of view.
Yes.
Which is a book about background characters in Star Wars, strangely enough. It's a book told from their perspectives.
Yes.
From multiple perspectives. They've done one from A New Hope, and they've done one from Empire Strikes Back.
Yes.
So Jot is in A New Hope as a Jawa. We don't know which one he is.
Yeah.
But he's one of them.
He's there.
So I think that counts as him appearing in live action.
He's
He's
there.
just a Jawa.
Yeah.
He's just one of the Jawas must have been Jot. And Jot just watches Star Wars, which is really weird. So he knows Anakin Skywalker's Darth Vader.
Yeah.
He knows everything. He's seen all the Clone Wars and all the things that R2's seen, he's seen.
Yep.
And he decides that no, this droid's too important, doesn't wipe his memory and leaves
Yep.
Mos Eisley.
Yep, just
So he
leaves.
survives when all of his...
He does.
When the Sandcrawler's attacked by Imperials and he survives.
He's somewhere out
So
there.
Jot is somewhere out there. What happened to Jot? We
No idea.
never know.
Give us the answers. That's what we want.
That is Jot. I feel like Jot is a nice way to end
Yeah.
our countdown of our droids, capital ships, and obscure characters.
Yes.
But for a weekly rec this week, what do you have, Corey?
So, we've talked about droids. I'm not going to recommend droids for TV series.
You say that every time.
Yep. But I've not seen it, that's why. Also, apparently it's not good. And so I thought, okay, well, Disney Plus. If you're going to watch all your Star Wars,
Right, yes.
it's on Disney Plus. And I thought, I was googling what's on Disney Plus, right? What we got on Disney Plus, and apparently on Disney Plus is the film Robots
Right.
with Robin Williams, but like droids, kind of. It's
Robots.
a nice little comedy with
Okay.
Robin Williams, and I can't remember who else was in it. I just remember Robin Williams doing a weird Scottish accent as a red robot
Right, okay.
whose head gets kicked off. It's just a comedy.
Strangely enough, do you know who's in Robots?
Robin Williams.
Ewan McGregor.
Oh, is he?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I knew that.
Obi-Wan in Ewan McGregor himself, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Well, there's your connection.
There's your connection.
There
Hello
it is.
There.
He doesn't say that in the film, unfortunately.
Well,
I don't know what his all I remember is Robin Williams and the big round.
the big roll one.
Yeah.
One. That's Mel Brooks, that is.
Yes.
Big Weld.
Yeah, that's one. Big round.
Big Weld, Mel Brooks. He's got, Ewan McGregor. How could you not know? It's Ewan.
I mean, it's just a good film.
Starring in Kenobi on May the 27th.
Yes.
Go and watch that when it comes out.
We will be covering that.
We will be, of course we will.
But, robots.
Go and watch that. Robin Williams, Ewan McGregor, Mel Brooks, Big Weld.
Big weld.
What are you going to give it for a real rating?
I am going to give it...
Come on, it's Robots 2005. It can't be anything slack.
Okay, you want me to go big, do you?
No, don't go that big. But go big enough.
I'll go 8.
Wow, 4.
Is that big enough?
Big Weld. Wow.
Big weld.
Big Weld. Right. Well, Big Weld. That will be the end of this episode. So I
Yes.
hope you enjoyed very much. We'll be coming back to you next week with the rest of Moon Knight and then more things from our May the 4th celebratory Star Wars month. So we hope you had a good time. It is goodbye from me, goodbye, and a goodbye from Corey.
Goodbye.